Hello there, Riderflex Nation. Steve Urban here with more career advice and job interviewing tips for you. And as a quick reminder, if you enjoy our podcast, please remember to subscribe to our channel and like the episodes. And on today's podcast, a quick short message to encourage you to verbally communicate with each other. And a great line to use if you're a manager or a supervisor and your team members come to you to complain because there's conflict within the group, or a project's not going well, or things are messy, etc. When they come to your office, or they call you up on the phone and they say, you know, Johnny this, Johnny that, Johnny's getting on my nerves, Johnny didn't do this, I'm waiting for Johnny to deliver XYZ, etc. I mean, how many times have you gotten that phone call, right? If you're a supervisor or a manager, you've gotten a call like that, right? They call to vent about another team member or complain, etc. Here's what I love doing. I've developed this over the years, and I want to encourage you to try this. So let's just say Mary has called me. Mary's just, given me 5 minutes of complaining about Johnny, everything, Johnny this, Johnny that, right? I let her finish. And then I'll say, well, Mary, did you talk to him about it? Real simple question. Mary, did you actually talk to him about it? Now, I will tell you that probably 70% of the time when I push back with that question, they haven't actually talked to the person they're complaining about or they're frustrated with, right? They haven't actually talked to him because they're either intimidated by them or they don't want to have conflict, et cetera, et cetera. In fact, to make it worse, they've sent a few emails or they've gotten into a big email argument or debate, right? And that just made it worse. And now they're not even looking at each other during meetings, but they haven't actually talked to each other. So what I used to do as a supervisor is I would just say, well, Mary, have you actually talked to Johnny? Well, Johnny knows how I feel. He knows what he's supposed to do, and he knows that this is bothering me. And I'll say, well, actually, Mary, he probably doesn't know. He probably has no idea that he's getting on your nerves, and I want to encourage you to just have the conversation with him. So, along with pushing your people to verbally communicate, okay, no text messages, no emails, okay, that just makes it worse. Along with encouraging them to verbally communicate, I would also, if it gets bad enough to where the people are, it's really a explosive situation, you might even just take them outside the office, right? Take them to lunch, have them communicate, take them to happy hour, okay? Maybe they have a glass of wine or a beer and they just chat for a minute, okay? You'd be surprised what that can solve if you'll just encourage your people to verbally communicate with each other. The last thing I'll share with you is this. I'll pick on my own wife, okay? My own wife who works retail. She'll come home after a long 12-hour day and she'll immediately just launch into a complaint about somebody, right? There's somebody did something. They don't come back from lunch on time. They did a no-call, no-show, as they call it these days in retail, et cetera. And I'll say, well, okay, well, did you actually talk to that person about it? Did you say something to the person? And quite often, even my own wife will say, well, I haven't talked to her about it yet, but she knows it's driving me nuts. So just verbally communicate with each other, folks. I just want to encourage managers especially to try that line with their people. Okay, just say, have you talked to them about it? And quite often you'll find that they actually haven't. And there is your Riderflex tip of the day. We truly hope you find our material helpful and entertaining. And while our podcast can be heard across most platforms, including iTunes, Google Play, YouTube, and SoundCloud, you can become a supporter of this podcast by visiting our show on the platform Anchor FM. That's anchor.fm/Riderflex. You can also send your questions or suggested topics for future episodes to the email address podcast@riderflex.com or drop us a voicemail at 888-964-5876 extension 710. Visit riderflex.com to learn more about us. Thanks so much for listening, folks, and have a great day.